Hello class, how are you all? A very warm welcome to the geography class. Today we are going to start chapter 2nd, Our Changing Earth. In this chapter you will study about changes on the surface of the earth, factors that causes changes, weathering and erosion, agents of denudation. Changes on the surface of the earth. Our earth is changing constantly externally and internally. These changes takes place on the earth due to some processes like volcano eruptions and earthquake activities. Certain changes are easily visible. On the other hand, some changes are very slow and these take place gradually over a long period of time. This could be due to natural forces such as carrying of soil by rainwater, changes in the course of a river, winds carrying soil particles with them, etc. The slow changes have been taking place since the earth came into existence and they are going on even today. Mountains and other highlands are being reduced in height while basins and depressions are being filled up. Rocks are being carved into different shapes by the forces of nature. Factors that causes change. The endogenic forces operating in the interior of the earth help in the formation of landforms on the surface of the earth. The exogenic forces which derive their energy from the sun acts on the surface of the earth through several processes like weathering, mass wasting, erosion, transportation, deposition, etc. Human factors also play an equally important role in changing the surface of the earth. The examples are cutting down of forest, construction of roads, bridges and railway lines, large-scale mining, building of dams, etc. The process that are involved in bringing gradual change upon the Earth's surface will be studied in this chapter. The exogenic forces are the external forces that work on the Earth's surface and bring changes on it. The external forces may lower the level of land by wearing away rock particles. It can also raise the level of land where the soil particles are deposited. Weathering. Weathering is the disintegration or decay of soil of solid rocks. It breaks rocks into smaller particles. It is a static process and does not involve the removal of rocks. The weathering of rock can occur through physical forces, chemical forces, biological forces, etc. They decay and disintegrate as they are exposed to all types of weather changes. The effect of weathering can also be seen on stone monuments and buildings where pieces of stone get flaked off and iron railings get rusted. This is the image of weathering. Do you know? Geomorphology is the science of study of landforms. Second, weathering is affecting the Taj Mahal at Agra. Erosion. This refers to gradual wearing and carrying away of all those loose particles of disintegrated rocks which lie exposed on the Earth's surface by the agents of gradation, that is running water, wind, moving ice and sea waves. Gradation means leveling of land. It occurs in two ways, aggradation and degradation. Aggradation means adding of sediments and raising of the level of land. Degradation means breaking and wearing away of sediments and lowering of the level of land. Deposition refers to the laying down of sediments which have been carried from distant parts of the Earth's surface by various agents of erosion. The continuous process of deposition results in the formation of soil at other places. The rate at which weathering and erosion take place depends upon the temperature of a place, vegetation cover, rainfall, slope of the land, type of soil, and changes in land use. It is important to know that weathering and erosion take place together. They occur everywhere and all the time. This combined process is called denudation. Agents of denudation. Running water. It is an important agent of denudation. A river, like any living form, has a life cycle. The rivers generally originate in mountains, either from the glaciers or from the lakes. Some rivers in Deccan Plateau of India are formed due to melting of various streams. During the rainy season, the place of origin of a river is called its source. Where a river enters the sea or disappears before joining the sea is called its mouth. The streams are small rivers which join the main river are called tributaries. This is the image of stages of river. From the source to its mouth, a river can be divided into three main sections: the upper course, the middle course and the lower course. These are also known as young, mature and old stages. The upper course. The upper course of a river generally lies in the hilly areas. It is the river's early stage. In this stage, the river is young. It flows over steep mountains where its rate of erosion is maximum. It flows very swiftly and erodes its bed and banks. Many types of landforms develop due to the erosional work of the river in the upper course. It is hard and resistant rock. In the course of the river, the water in the river falls from great heights, forming a waterfall. The Jog Falls is the highest waterfall in India, and the Angel Falls in Venezuela is the highest in the world. Do you know? The term meander derives from the winding river, meander of Turkey. A steep-sided deep valley in hilly areas is called a gorge or a canyon. River valleys normally develop in areas of heavy rainfall and when the rocks are not very hard. Such features are called V-shaped valley. The middle course. The middle course begins when the river leaves the hilly areas and enters the plains. The speed and energy of the river decline. The volume of water in the river increases and the slope of land decreases. It comes to the stage of maturity, resulting in slower speed of the river. Thus, the broadening of a river is more active than its deepening. At this stage in the middle course, the river twists and turns, forming large bands and loops known as meanders. Those are formed due to the erosional and depositional work of the river. The meanders are generally formed when the slope is gentle and the river has enough water. This is the image of meander. There is a continuous erosional and depositional work on both sides of the meander. This causes the end of the meander's loop come closer. After some time, meander's loop cut off from the main river and then left over paths is called Oxbow Lake. Sometimes, especially during floods, the river overflows its banks and causes flooding of the surrounding areas. The river deposits its sediments brought by it in this region. This activity leads to the development of fertile floodplains. The river also deposits some sediments on and along the banks, which are raised to a higher level. Then the plain. The raised banks are called levels. Look at these images. First image is of Jog Fall, which is the highest in India. This is the image of V-shaped valley. The river also deposits some sediments on and along the banks, which are raised to a higher level. Then the plain. The raised banks are called levels. The lower course. Before meeting the sea, the river becomes large and sluggish and gets divided into several distributaries. This is the image of Oxbow Lake and this is the image of canyon. It now comes to its old stage. The speed of the river water declines and its capacity to transport sediment is drastically reduced. This leads to the deposition of sediments on the floor of the river. Thus, the river is also divided into many distributaries. The deposition of sediments over a large area results in a triangle-shaped formation which is known as delta. The delta of Ganga and Brahmaputra is the largest in the world. All rivers do not form delta. This is the image of delta. Ice and glacier. It is believed that a million years ago, the climatic condition of the Earth's surface was much cooler than what it is now. The Earth's surface was covered with ice, but later the temperature began to rise gradually. This rise in temperature resulted in melting of the ice. The mass of moving ice is called glacier. In India, glaciers are found on high altitudes of the Himalayas whose temperature is below freezing point. A glacier moves under the influence of gravity along a confined course, away from its region of accumulation. This is the image of glacier. This is the image of snowfield. The height above which there is a permanent cover of snow is known as snow line. The snow line is a line on the high mountains on which the snow never melts. The area of permanent cover of snow above the snow line is called snowfield. The glaciers are broadest at the source and the narrowest where they end. The glacier moves slowly in the beginning. Its speed is more in the middle part than on the sides. The average rate of movement is about 1 meter per day. The velocity depends upon the steepness of the slope. Deep cracks called crevasses are formed on the surface of a glacier. When its movement is checked, the work of the glacier causes erosional features in the mountains or highlands and depositional features in the lowlands. The glacier erodes the landscape by bulldozing the soil and the stones. This action can expose the solid rock below. It can carve out armchair-shaped depression which gets filled with snow. As the snow or ice melts, these depressions can be filled with water. The depressions are called serac and the lakes thus formed are called tarn. A glacier valley is not V-shaped like a river valley. It is U-shaped. A glacier is able to erode both the side and the bottom, with which it comes in contact. After erosion, it leaves behind a distinct U-shaped valley. In the lowlands, the glacier melts and causes deposition of sediments brought by it. The debris and rock particles of all sizes and shapes are called glacial moraines. This is the image of moraines. Do you know? Smaller glaciers develop waterfalls while entering the main valley. This is called hanging valley. Wind. In the region of little rainfall and meager vegetation, the land is exposed to strong winds. The loose rock particles are easily blown away by this strong wind, thus the wind is also an agent of denudation. The strong wind has the capacity to rub and scrape rocks, resulting in strange shaped rocks. The carried material is then deposited at a new place whenever the speed of wind slows down due to some obstruction. This forms various types of sand dunes. It can be found in the western parts of Rajasthan in India. This is the image of sand dunes. The speed of wind is very important in the erosional and depositional work. A continuous erosional work of the wind creates a large variety of physical features in the hot desert. The maximum erosion of a projected rock occurs not at its ground level but slightly above it. Thus, it develops narrow bar and wider top. This is called mushroom rocks. These images are the images of mushroom rocks. The fine dust particles are deposited in big masses beyond the limits of the desert margins. This is called loess deposits. It is a massive formation with no beds or stratas. About 10% of the Earth's surface is covered by loess deposit. The most deposits of loess, yellow in color, are found in North China. This is the image of loess in China. Do you know, air can neither be seen nor felt, but the swift horizontal movement of air is felt and is called wind. Sea waves. Along the seashore, sea waves are the most powerful agents of denudation. The continuous striking of waves break the rocks. Such continuous erosional works from steep-sided cliffs facing the sea. The sea waves are generated due to the friction caused by winds over the water surface. The sea waves radiates outwards from the areas of their origin. The erosion by sea waves is also called marine erosion. The sea waves continuously strike the rock masses in the coastal areas. The cracks in the rocks are widened as the water is forced into the cracks under very high pressure. This helps in breaking the rock into smaller blocks. In some coastal areas, a layer of soft rocks exists between two layers of hard rocks. The joints in the rocks are widened into large cavities after a period of time. They become larger and wider. This is the image of sea waves. Thus, hollow-like caves are formed which are called sea caves. Over a period of time, the cavities are enlarged and only the roof of the cave remains, forming sea arcs. Gradually, the agents of weathering and erosion break the upper portion of the arc and the roof collapses. Thus, large pillars of rocks completely detached from the main body of rocks are left behind. This is called stack. Continuous erosion forms steep cliffs facing the sea. The eroded material may then be deposited along the coast, forming beaches. Beaches along the coast of Goa, Mumbai, Chennai are very popular. This is the sea beach. Human beings also play a crucial role in changing the face of the land. Overgrowing population and industrialization has disturbed the natural environment to a large extent. The human activity involves a diverse land use like clearing of forest for agriculture, construction of roads and new human settlements, etc. These are few examples which change the land surface. It is important that development makes disturbance over land surface and an ecological balance is maintained. Similarly, human beings need to take care of soil as it is very important for plant life. Summing up the above chapter, gradation, leveling of the earth's surface through agents like rivers, glaciers, winds, sea waves, etc. Weathering, the process of disintegration of decay and solid rocks. Next, erosion, the wearing down of rocks by the agents of gradation and transportation of eroded material. Snow line, a height above which there is a permanent cover of snow. Ice caps, vast and extensive area which are permanently under ice like Greenland. Thank you class. Now let's meet in the next chapter.